What's up, guys? Michael Dugan here from internsbig10.com. Week 11 predictions. Week 11. Here we are, second weekend of November. I don't even really want to talk about last weekend anymore. We covered it on the podcast, and it was just too hectic. And I don't want any more craziness this weekend because it's just going to be too much to digest, especially given these matchups. Let's start out with the first one. Noon kickoff, Indiana at Illinois. This is going to be ugly. Indiana is not playing well. Illinois is probably the worst team in the Power 5 conferences. Indiana's favored by 8, which if you told any Indiana fan right now that they'd be favored by 8 on the road in a Big Ten game, they'd probably think you're crazy. I think they win this game. I think it matters a little bit on Peyton Ramsey's health. If he can't go and it's only Richard Lego for the entirety of the game, I think this game could be a low-scoring slugfest that may come down to who forces one more turnover. And Indiana's not really forced a lot of turnovers this season, certainly not as well as they did last year. I think they're bottom 10 in the country. So for Indiana's sake, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope Peyton Ramsey's able to go. I'm going to take Indiana. I don't know about that spread. I think it matters on the health of Peyton Ramsey. Next game, Michigan State, Ohio State. I don't really care about this game because it doesn't really mean anything. Because I thought Ohio State was going to win the national championship after that game against Penn State. I thought they looked like the best team in the Big Ten by far. I thought they could go toe-to-toe with teams like Alabama. And then that Iowa game happened. I still can't really wrap my head around it. I can't find words to describe what happened other than they were thoroughly outplayed for the entirety of the game. And this game matters for Michigan State. Both teams have 2 losses. I don't think either of them are going to get into the playoff, but I like Ohio State because it's at home. The fact that the spread is 16.5 in favor of the Buckeyes is a little excessive. I'm definitely going to take Michigan State with the points there, but I like Ohio State because it's at home, and Urban Meyer just doesn't lose twice in a row. It just doesn't happen. Next one, Rutgers at Penn State. Penn State wins the game. Rutgers fights for a little bit, but Penn State ends up winning the game pretty handily. I would imagine that the Nittany Lions are pretty pissed off right now. Nebraska at Minnesota, the broken chair game. This is a weird one. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought Minnesota would be a little better than what they are right now, 1-5 in a terrible Big Ten West. Nebraska, obviously in a free fall. I don't know why Mike Riley is still there, to be quite honest with you. Minnesota's favored right now by 2.5. I don't really know why that is because they look really, really bad. They certainly have the coaching edge, but I just think the talent gap is so big here. But who knows? Maybe PJ Fleck kind of finds that one silver lining in his. It's a pretty rough first year for him as head coach of Minnesota, but maybe he finds the silver lining in this trophy rivalry game, if you will. So give me the Gophers to win this one. I don't know if that's an upset, certainly not with the spread, but I think if Minnesota ends up winning this game, I think most people would be surprised. Iowa at Wisconsin. Badgers favored by 12.5 right now. This one on ABC, 3:30. This is going to be a fantastic game. Wisconsin is so injury depleted. Guys like Jonathan Taylor, they're not playing at 100%, nowhere near 100%. Quintez Cephas not playing near 100%. Basically, their entire secondary is not at 100%. Dakota Dixon, guys like that, they're not at 100%. And, I mean, no one really is at 100% in this point in the season, but these guys have been questionable for what seems like an eternity. And Iowa is just beating opponents up right now. I mean, they're playing really, really good football. They're climbing in the rankings, number 20 right now. I don't know that anyone had them here even a couple weeks ago. Wisconsin, again, favored by 12.5. I like Wisconsin because it's in Madison. I think this is a really, really close game, and Iowa could surprise people and win this one. I don't know how many people are giving them a chance, but if the Big Ten wants a shot at the playoff, they better be rooting for Wisconsin in this one because if they lose, they're done. And I have a really hard time believing Ohio State or Michigan State gets in. Michigan at Maryland. Michigan favored by 17. I think that's probably right. Max Bortenschlager is hurt for Maryland. Don't know if he's going to go. That would be unfathomable bad luck for DJ Durkin. In his 10th game, he's going to have to resort to his 4th or 5th string walk-on quarterback. It would just be awful for a really, really good coach. When we saw them at full health at Texas to open the season, they got out with a win, 51 points on Texas, and they won that game, and then it kind of went downhill from there. They lost their starting quarterback in that one, they lost their backup in the next game, and the dominoes just kept falling for Maryland. I think Michigan wins this game. Michigan seems to be getting their feet back under them with a new quarterback in Brandon Peters pulling John O'Korn, so I think Michigan, they've sparked a little life into their program lately, and I think they go on the road, they win this one by double digits. It's not pretty because they still don't have a great offense, but they win this one by double digits. And I'm missing one game, Purdue at Northwestern. Northwestern right now is favored by 4.5. I don't understand why that's the spread. Do they know something that we don't about Purdue? We think Purdue is pretty bad, and now they're without David Blau. I mean, this is a team that lost to Rutgers. They're 2-4 in the West. But Northwestern arguably is a couple inches away from losing their last 3 games instead of winning their last 3 games, which they all won in overtime. So I like Northwestern. Once Northwestern starts to get a groove and starts to click and fire on all cylinders, they're pretty tough to beat, certainly in recent years. So I like Northwestern this one, especially Purdue is going to have to go with just Elijah Sindelar. I know he and David Blau would split snaps over the last few weeks. I'm going at Northwestern. I think they cover the spread. 4.5 is a little low for me in that one. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Let's get some more good football this weekend. Indiana or Illinois, someone's going to get their first Big Ten win, and Wisconsin's playoff hopes are on the line in their biggest game of the year. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you on the podcast on Monday.